Alright, so this is Orzhov Vampires. It's very similar to the Mono Blacklist. Good hand disruption, good removal in the main. I like the one of Go Blank, especially with the metagame right now. I think it's pretty interesting. We're also playing 3 more Go Blanks in the sideboard, which I really like. Edgar, Charmed Groom. 4 mana for a 4/4. Anthems everybody else. When it dies, return it transformed. The legendary artifact at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 vampire, black-white vampire token with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on the artifact. Then if there are 3 or more bloodline counters on it, remove those and transform it. So basically, if it dies, it's just like this continuous flipping back and forth. Like there's not really it has to be exiled, it looks like to me. So I don't know. It looks very similar to Mono Black Vampires. And we're playing the new Planeswalker, which I kind of like. I'm pretty interested to play with this one. Also, this is playing 24 lands instead of 25. Last time I played this we were playing 25 lands, and we also didn't have Hive of the Eye Tyrant, so we were playing the Swamp Faceless Haven package. So I don't know. This looks pretty sweet. I kind of like it. Deafening Silence seems really good for multiple matchups. Noxious Grasp, Legion's In, Fatal Push, all great removal. Grafdigger's Cage, really good graveyard hate. Edgar's Coffin Side is good with Kalitas. I know what Kalitas does. Oh, because you can sack the vampire. Okay, gotcha. Because you can sacrifice the vampire to Kalitas. Yeah, that does seem really good. Crippling Fear is really good. I like that. Extra Kalitas and Liliana, the discard one, not really sure what we'll want that for, maybe like control or something like that. So the list looks pretty sweet. I'm pretty excited to play it. Let's see here. I'll play a league match. That's the only 2 things open. Yeah, okay. We had a 3-2 with Nyazu earlier, which was pretty cool. That list was kind of fun. That was a viewer submitted list. That was pretty fun. So I don't want to jinx anything, but we've been finding games pretty quick in Pioneer today. This is like one of those matchups where obviously I want to be on the play, but I don't really feel like I'm in a bad spot if I'm not on the play. So I kind of like that. Like with Burn and I don't know, even with that Nyazu deck from last league, you really want to be on the play to try and get under people. But with this one, obviously it's better to be on the play, but I don't feel like I need to be. Played against this person a few times. I think they have some number of trophies. I think they commonly trophy in Pioneer. Really like this hand. We don't have a white source, but this hand seems pretty solid. Good curve here. We'll probably play the Go Blank on turn 3 here, depending upon what they're on. I assume they're on Niv. Claudio is a good MTGO grinder. Yeah, I kind of thought they were. I think I'm going to attack for 1 and then play Thoughtseize here. Okay. I'm still going to cast Thoughtseize here. Taking a card from their hand feels pretty solid. They don't have a red source, so they can't cast really any of the spells in their hand. But I think Expressive Iteration... Well, we don't really have a way... I think we're taking Nahiri here? Yeah, I think that's what we're taking. I don't know, it could be wrong, but that feels like the best take there. Alright, so they draw into Triumph. Alright. minus put this into play and say go. So we're putting a pretty good clock into play here. Vanishing Verse, okay. We're going to play that on the white side. We're going to cast Go Blank, and then we'll see what they get rid of here. Okay. Alright, we'll attack for 4 here. I need to hit a red source here to be able to cast this. By Giganta. And they're going to say go. Okay. He usually plays Niv. Yeah, sorry, I just saw this, man. And we'll attack for 7, put our opponent to 9 here. And then even if they do draw into it, we have, if they draw into something they can play here, we have Murderous Rider. Alright, well, we're just able to pick our opponent's hand apart here. X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Kind of like that one. Deafening Silence. That just turns off. That's pretty good because that just turns off their Bring to Lights. Protection from white and black. I kind of like that too. The Go Blank seemed pretty good. Let's see here. Fatal Push is an easy cut, and then we got to get rid of 4 more cards. Like, we want top end, but it's really hard for Niv to remove Blood Baron. Blood Baron. Oh, the 5-drop we're bringing in? Yeah, I was like, pro black and pro white feels pretty good here. That's card advantage, so we don't want to get rid of that. I know Kalitas doesn't feel super promising here. Like, Kalitas is really good against, like, aggro decks. Oh no, Kalitas is just a bomb. I don't know if this is right or not, but this feels like where we want to be at. Perhaps cutting Aetherborn. Yeah, so that's something I was thinking about too, is like cutting Gifted Aetherborn. I also like Aetherborn because it gains its life and it lets us attack, so I don't know about cutting all of them, but I do think cutting some number of them is good, yeah. Yeah, we're going to keep this hand. So we're going to lead on Knight here. We want to get a threat down on turn 1. And then next turn, we'll play the Thoughtseize, see what they're up to. Actually, we'll play double Thoughtseize. That feels pretty good. Hopefully they cast a Fatal Push here. I mean, I know that's a weird thing to hope that they cast a Fatal Push against our threat, but at the same time, dismiss all, and then we'll put a counter on the Knight. That's pretty solid. The extra Thoughtseize there was a really good draw step. Play Glacial Fortress. They buy Giganta. All right. Make them discard some cards here. Discard Overgrown Tomb, Rootbound Crag. Alright, so our opponent has Gigantha, Sunpetal Grove, and a couple of unknown cards. Expressive Iteration, okay. Abrupt Decay is pretty good. It's 4 to activate that. Play Dusk Legion Zealot. Cast Deafening Silence, that feels pretty solid. And then next turn we have Champion of Dusk. Okay. Alright, Blood Baron's pretty solid. Yep, it just gets to exile cards from their graveyard. A Cycle Triumph. I'm pretty okay with just throwing all of these in front here. Carry added. Alright, they have one card in hand. Play Blood Baron, say go. Alright, we're in a pretty decent spot here. Our opponent cycles another land. Kind of feels like our opponent's just flooding out here. We're going to attack for 4 here. Champion of Dusk. We'll say go. We can't play this. Much as I would like to be able to play that, I can't. Growth Spiral? Why Deafening Silence? Deafening Silence shuts off their Bring to Light. They're forced to Bring to Light for Niv that way. Like, they can't Bring to Light for anything else. Okay. That's pretty solid. Gets rid of both of our things. Cast a Zealot. And we'll say go here. We can start putting on a good bit of pressure with our Hive of the Eye Tyrant next turn. Having an active Planeswalker is pretty sweet. But isn't getting Niv just good enough? Is it just better than your 60th card? Probably, yeah, honestly. Like, you're probably in a better spot if you have just having another card. Okay. Yeah, we're going to use that. Attack with everything. There's nothing to exile. Get in the red zone here. Our opponent needs to see like a Niv or something here. They just concede. Okay. Alright, well, we had a quick 2-0 against Niv there. I'm not sure if the matchup's that good, but it kind of felt like a free win that match, I won't lie. So I know that the person we played against is pretty good. Played against him before. Okay, I like this hand. Our opponent also keeps 7. We'll lead on Thoughtseize. Let's see what you're up to, opponent. Definitely take dig through time here. Alright, so blue-black control. Let's see. Yeah, so that Baron's a good sideboard card. I don't know. We'll see how this matchup goes. It feels like Go Blank will be really good here. I'm gonna run out a Gifted Aetherborn here, make them use the Fatal Push in their hand. At least I imagine they will. Yep. Okay, they have Negate, Days Undoing, Swamp in their hand. Play that, say go. Alright, they did nothing there. They play Swamp and say go. Alright, let's run it out and see if they have a counterspell. Maybe they have Extinction Event here. Shadow's Verdict is also pretty good for them here. I mean, we get to keep our Kalitas if they have Shadow's Verdict, but... Okay. Play the castle, attack for 2. Alright, they have Negate, Days Undoing, and an unknown card in hand, so... Go Blank would be really good here. Go Blank would have been really good last turn when they were tapped out, but... Is Erebos' Intervention a sorcery? No, it's an instant, but they did it to play around us sacrificing the Aetherborn to Kalitas, so that was pretty smart. Dig through time off the top. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. Negate, Days Undoing, Sanitarium. Play Edgar. Get in for 5. They must have a sweeper in their hand there if they didn't actually like activate this Sanitarium. I kind of figured they would to try and... They're just going to Narset Days Undoing. Okay. Alright, we're going to see what they have here. We're going to take Ashiok. Put a counter here. Just going to attack them. They're going to kill my Gifted Aetherborn here and take 7, go to 8. All right. Extinction event's pretty good. God, and it's all even, so that's annoying. Okay, they fetch. It's fine. I guess it doesn't matter. Now they just have us locked. So we can never do anything here. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we should have taken the Days Undoing there over... Maybe we should have taken the Days Undoing there over the Search for Escanta. I mean, we were taking a little bit of a chance there that they don't rip into it, but... Protection from black and white feels pretty good here. Don't feel like we want Fatal Push. Thoughtseize is good. That seems like the most obvious cut. Crippling Fear, Grasp, Legion's End, Fatal Push. Nope. Deafening Silence doesn't seem that good. Try it like this. I like the Zealot to try and help us draw more cards here. Yep, we'll play first. Yeah, I like this hand. We're going to lead on Thoughtseize here. Take Kalitas. Alright, yeah, we don't really... I mean, we have ways to deal with it, but we don't really... Alright, we'll say go. We have go blank next turn at the ready. Narset Thirst, so they have Shark Typhoon and Narset, and then a couple of unknown cards in hand. Alright. They put Fabled Passage into the yard, but don't fetch. Play Narset, yep. Ashiok, okay. Yeah, I'll take one and put a Thoughtseize into my hand. Does 13 damage to any target and you gain 7 life. Okay, that feels pretty good. I mean, the ultimate there kind of puts us over the top. Okay. Or the game's over because of Days Undoing. That was fast. And they have the land. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. I could win this game. Like, there might be some small chance that I can get out of that, but I'm not going to take the time to fight through that. That's just going to take forever. Alright, I got a phone call during that match, so I'm going to take a second to return that. If I find a match, we'll play, but... Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so we're 1-1. We beat up on Niv Delight, and then we lost the match to the blue-black control deck with Days Undoing Narset. I feel like maybe I just kind of Thoughtseize wrong. Like I don't know. Maybe our opponent just drew really well. Like I think game one, if I take the Narset instead of the Search for Escanta, or the Days Undoing instead of the Search for Escanta, we probably win that match. But nonetheless, though, it's all right. Part of it, though. The deck has felt really solid, though. There's only 11 white sources. I guess, to be fair, there's only like a few white cards in the deck, so it's not crazy to think that you don't have one that regularly, but... Find me a match. I like that you're still able to play 4 Mutavaults in this deck and it be multiple colors. I do enjoy that. I think that's pretty interesting. I thought for a while they were playing the Blood Baron in the main deck too. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I'd seen played against it a couple times game 1 against a couple people. Let's go. Let's get a match. Alright, we get to be on the play, I think, for the first time all league. Yeah, I like this hand. I like having Urborg. Yeah, having Urborg just kind of like fills out the curve pretty well here. Because we're able to go Urborg into Mutavault for Aetherborn. More than likely playing Go Blank on turn 3 as opposed to Sorin, but we'll see what happens. Alright, our opponent takes a mulligan. Player Urborg, say go. This blue-black control again. Play Aetherborn, say go. Fatal Push or consider coming here, I imagine. Okay. Oh, Esper? Okay. If we resolve Sorin here, minusing to put in Champion of Dusk is really good. Okay. And then next turn we have Go Blank. Okay, so this is a Soulflayer deck. This is becoming, like, this is the second time I've played against this today. And I haven't played against it before today, so... Maybe it's a super popular deck and it's just one of those decks that I've just kind of managed to dodge. Well, the good news here is that if they can't put Soulflayer into play this turn, I mean, they can. We're in a pretty good spot here because we're able to just Go Blank them. Alright, we're going to try and attack for 5 here. Okay. We're going to leave up the Pathway because it takes them off of thinking we have something to do. Alright. That's pretty good. Now they're going to cast Otherworldly Gaze during their upkeep. Okay. What is this card? It's either counter spell or it's draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Okay. Well, Soulflayer here is pretty tough for us to beat. Okay, Faithful Mending during their turn. Interesting. To play a tapped land, say go. They discard Soulflayer. They must have another one in their hand if that's the case. We're going to keep this one. Put this into play, draw 2 cards. Attack for 8, say go. Put our opponent to 9. What? What is our opponent looking for here? Because they had the Soulflayer and they discarded it. Flying, Lifelink, and Haste is all they can give it, I guess, is like their problem here. That's all I can see that they can give it here. If they had the like double strike guy here, that'd be pretty insane. Okay, I don't think you realize you're just dead here. Oh, killed the Sorin? Okay. 6, 10, 12? Yeah, I think it's better to run out Kalitas here and say go. I think that's better. If he casts Supreme Verdict here, then I get 3 tokens and he's dead. Faithful Mending go to 7. Okay. Don't really know what my opponent's looking for here. Okay, our opponent just had nothing there. All right, interesting. Go blank seems like a house in this matchup. Kalitas seems really good. Blood Baron's a little slow here, but maybe worth it. Don't think we really want the Sorin Planeswalker. Murderous Rider can be good. Not super likely, but... I mean, maybe Liliana has enough value here. Yeah, maybe Liliana has enough value here as the -6/-6 ability. I think our best bet here is to just kind of hope that we can like Thoughtseize them early game and to go blank them late game. I think we need to mulligan this. I don't know, this doesn't seem great, but I don't like our chances on 5, so... Alright, well, Dusk Legion Zealot on turn 2 into turn 3 go blank can be pretty good. Not if they just put one into play on turn 2 though, or turn 3 though. I mean, I don't think it's possible for them to play turn 2 Soulflayer. That would be insane. If they could turn 2 Soulflayer, that'd just be busted. What I'd like to see is a Thoughtseize here. Ask for a Thoughtseize and you shall receive. Take Soulflayer. Like, that is what we wanted to see. They'll cast Faithful Mending here. Like, they can still do it. Discard those cards. We'll say go here. They'll probably play the Watery Grave. Yep. I mean, as long as they didn't like hit a Soulflayer there, we're in decent shape. Land for the go blank is pretty good. All right. Well, Thoughtseize exactly when we needed it into go blank is pretty solid here. Now they just have Counterspell. Flashback Otherworldly Gaze. Okay. Fatal Push. Okay. Fatal Push, Courtyard. Leaves one on top. Draws that card. Thoughtseize is us. Okay. They take Liliana. Seems reasonable. Oh, Sorin's pretty good off the top. We're going to minus and put Kalitas into play. Yep, some really good draw steps here. They're casting Otherworldly Gaze during their upkeep. Okay. Cycle Serpent, Playdrum Catacombs. Alright, attack for 4. And it's 3 mana to sack, so there's no reason holding anything up. I'm just going to hit 6 here to play through my turn. I finally found a Soulflayer. And it's got the works. I mean, this Soulflayer has everything here, like, so there's nothing really we can do. Double strike, flying, hexproof, lifelink, indestructible, vigilance. Gives it 2 counters, makes it a 6/7, right? I mean, I don't know if we can win from here, but I don't know if they can either. Yep, Sorin goes to 1. Because we're just going to gain a ton of life here. Like, they have to have a removal spell for our Kalitas here. I guess if they can produce multiple Soulflayers, they can beat us here. My god, when motorcycles go by this place, it's probably the most annoying thing in the world. I can't attack yet because it makes it a 7/8. So we're not quite there yet, which means we're just going to cast Murderous Rider here. Then we'll sacrifice the Murderous Rider to put counters on here. Yeah, they have to produce a second Soulflayer here to beat us. Yep, we can block, so take 8, go to 13. Make Kalitas a 7/8. Sacrifice Mutavault. Gonna attack for 9. I mean, he gets to block and gain a bunch of life, but so do we. Because he's attacking us for 8, but we're gaining 9 every turn at this point, so... Like, until he produces a second Soulflayer, like... There's no way for him to win the game. Yep. Champion of Dusk, off 3, go to 20. And we'll say go. Okay. Let's see here. Zealot's pretty good. And the cool part here is that if we ever get into... If we ever get to Blood Baron, then... all we have to do is be above 30 and get the Blood Baron, and then we can just block this thing forever. Oh, alright, well, that's going to do it. Alright, so let's see here. Go blank, Thoughtseize. Liliana. Kalitas to help with the graveyard stuff if the game goes on that late. Yeah, I think this is the way we want it. We just need to beat up on their hand here. Well, we can't do that with a single Mutavault, so we're going to mulligan. I mean, this hand's also not a winning hand. There's 24 lands in our deck, so the fact that we had a single hand with a Mutavault and a single hand with a Castle Locthwain is extremely unlikely. We're keeping the Dusk Legion Zealot to help our chances of getting there. Let's take a Thoughtseize. Our opponent's going to play Mana Confluence and then play their own Thoughtseize. At least I imagine they're going to. Probably going to take the Go Blink here. Alright, play Zealot. Draw it to Hive the Eye Tyrant, say go. And we need to hit land, so this is fine. Alright, they find Hallowed Fountain. Gifted Aetherborn's better than nothing, so we're going to run it out there. Our opponent's just going to cycle here, so Hive the Eye Tyrant, say go. Just going to cycle a couple of the River Winders, I imagine. Oh, it's going to cast Fatal Push here? Okay, it's pretty surprising. Like, I understand you want to remove it, but... Gonna attack for one here, and then we're gonna use Castle Locthwain at the end of their turn. Our opponent is at 10, so we don't have that much further to go, but problem is that if we don't have a way to beat, we don't have a way to stop their game plan here, then we're just gonna lose. If it's Faithful Mending, Jesus. Alright, our opponent's drawn very well, considering they kept one land double Thoughtseize. Alright, we no longer know the contents of their hand. We're just going to hope that they don't put a Soulflayer into play before we can... before we can find a Go Blink. They don't have a second black mana, so that is kind of promising. Okay, they still don't have a second black mana. Thoughtseize is good. Sweet. Ah, you'll love to see that. Okay. Thoughtseize, Indigo Blank. That's some draw steps right there. Alright, well, feels like we're in a pretty decent spot here, so... Our opponent concedes. Interesting. I feel like our opponent probably could have put something together there if they had tried, so kind of surprised to see them concede so early. But we take the wins where we can get them, so 2-1 with the deck, not bad. I see a lot of people playing this deck. I see a lot of people playing this deck. Like, don't get me wrong, there's not a lot of people that stream Pioneer, so I feel like that's one of the things that I really like about Pioneers is it's just not a superly played format. Like, I feel like you can turn on, like, you can go to Twitch and turn on like Magic and find about anybody streaming Modern most days. Except for the last couple days, there's been a lot of people playing Vintage Cube lately, so. Wonder how Sneaky Masato's doing in the challenge. I was watching Sneaky Masato play earlier. He's playing the Pioneer Challenge from earlier today. Oh, he's in the top 4. He's been running pretty hot today. He's playing that Jund Sacrifice deck, and that deck's really good. Like, that deck is one of those, like, it has a lot of lines. But if you can, like, figure it out, like, it's really solid. Alright, I don't know what our opponent's doing here, but. Oh, there's our opponent. Yeah, I can't keep this hand. I think we can try this one. I think we're putting this on the bottom. Oh, we're playing the mirror. At least it appears to be the mirror. They could be playing mono black vampires. Like, that's also an option. Alright. Run out second Knight of the Ebon Legion. That's really going to make our Champion of Dusk really good next turn. Yeah, we get to play Champion. We get to play Sorin minus, put Champion of Dusk into play next turn. Seeing a Fatal Push would be really good here. We've drawn that one of Go Blank a lot in our opening hands. Alright, they also have Sorin. What are they doing with their Sorin is the question. They're plussing? Okay. Well, we can't really block here. Now, we could take the turn to just kill their Sorin. I don't know, killing their Sorin seems pretty appealing. We're not adding to the board in any way, but it does seem pretty appealing. Thoughtseize isn't going to be good for much longer, though. I mean, there's no way we're playing Thoughtseize here. That is, like, the least effective turn we could have. I feel like killing Sorin and then go blanking whatever they do next turn is pretty solid. Okay, so they're going to attack us for 8 here. Until end of turn. I want to Thoughtseize here and see what they're up to. Okay. Fatal Push there is pretty solid. And then they have 2 lands in their hand. Okay. Dusk Legion Zealot's pretty good draw. That was pretty good. Man. Yeah. Our opponent's drawn very well this game. Yeah, we're just going to scoop them up here. Man, our opponent. Man, they started the game like with a lot of pressure and they never looked back. Alright, so Legion's in is good, but it's also kind of not. I don't like Thoughtseize in these like creature aggro matchups. I like Kalitas number 3 here. Kalitas is probably one of the best creatures in this matchup. Liliana is really good. Legion's in, Fatal Push, and Blood Baron are all sweet here. Yeah, it feels like we're going to run it like this. I don't really like the idea of go blank and like trying to pick apart your hand in the mirror like this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If somebody has a different idea, please let me know, but I don't know. That just doesn't... I think I'd rather be playing reactionary to the board. I like this hand. It's a solid hand. Yeah, having threat and a draw an extra card, like plus removal into like probably our best creature in the matchup is really solid. Okay. Our opponent mulligans to 6. That feels pretty good also. Alright. Now, I'm interested to see if our opponent Thoughtseizes us here or go blanks us. A lot of people... I feel like a lot of people believe in keeping that kind of stuff in the mirror. I heard Reed Duke one time say that if a matchup is going to be like grindy or long in any way, that you don't want Thoughtseize effects, because like off the top, I just thought I hit attack all, but I missed the button apparently. All right, well that was a oof on my part there, but that you don't want to draw Thoughtseize or go blank like late in the game when you just need like a removal spell or something. So all right, and we'll hit 2 here so that we can have the chance to fatal push something if we need to. Okay. Definitely fatal pushing that. Yeah, I think it's better to get Sorin in play, then play Kalitas. We're putting multiple threats on the board this way, as opposed to just playing Kalitas this turn. So I feel like having more permanents in play is pretty solid in these mirror matchups like this. Like our double Fatal Push was really solid to start the game. They also have a Kalitas. Okay. Our opponent must be lagging or something. I don't know what they could possibly be thinking about at this point in the game. Oh, the Bills are up 20-7 on New England. I need to check on my fantasy team after this match, see how they're doing. It's 3 in the afternoon. I should have some points on the board by now. I have to say, the one thing that I don't like about our fantasy league is that one guy, the way that my buddy set it up that I used to work with, he set it up in a way where you have to play like the 2-week like playoff system, and I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I can only assume our opponent's lagging here. I think drawing like a Murderous Rider would be pretty solid here. Like anything that deals with Kalitas would be really good, but we don't have to be super worried about it because we can give Kalitas a counter, and then we can just attack with that and the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and just activate Knight. And if they don't block our Knight, then we're able to, if we peel into a land, then we're able to play the Champion of Dusk and draw 4 cards after combat. Like, we have a few good plays here, so I don't know, maybe our opponent had to step away like I did a few minutes ago when I had to take that phone call. I'm actually going to take this moment to check my fantasy team while we're just sitting here. Anybody else in the playoffs playing fantasy football today? Alright, let's see. I'm still projected to win that matchup. It's pretty close, though. Of course, my opponent comes back the second I start. I decide to do something and my opponent comes back. Alright, we're going to give this a counter. We're going to attack with these guys. If my opponent blocks in no way here, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let my opponent take 5. I'm going to play the white side of the pathway and then play Champion of Dusk. It's not really a good spot for my opponent either way here, so alright, this is just going to be one of those matches where my opponent's going to take a decade to do everything, apparently. Oh, hey, Sneaky Masato's playing in the finals of the Pioneer Challenge. Let's go. Good for him. Oh my gosh. Maybe I need to pick up my phone and pretend to like look at something. Maybe that's a secret here. Maybe my opponent will do something if I pick up my phone. Alright, I'm barely projected to win in both of my leagues here. Well, let's go. Chris Edmonds had a pretty good game. Jamar Chase wants to have a good game. I'd be okay with that too. Nick Folk is my kicker. Let me tell you, he's had some pretty interesting games so far this season. Like, he had a 20-point game as a kicker. That's crazy to me. I think this is the most boring part about playing Moto sometimes, is that sometimes you're just sitting here waiting on your opponent to do something. Alright, so my opponent declares no blocks. Takes 5. We play Champion of Dusk, draw 4 cards. Give this thing a counter. Alright. I mean, I guess having backup Kalitas is pretty solid. Alright, our opponent just concedes here. I mean, I think being on the play both times, like, and having removal spells over my opponent not... So, like, Game 1, I didn't have removal spells and my opponent did, and they were on the play. Game 2, we had removal spells and our opponent didn't, and they were on the play. So, I think it's important with that in mind that we have some amount of removal in our hand game, or in this last game here. Maybe we want Crippling Fear? I don't know. I think we're just going to run it like this. I'm wondering if that Sorin the Mirthless or whatever it's called, I'm wondering if that card's good enough on the draw. Like if we might want to cut one of those and bring in the 4th Dusk Legion Zealot. Like just as an extra blocker. I mean, this hand's not, like, superb or anything, but let's try it. I think, like, we have removal, we have an extra draw card in Dusk Legion Zealot, and we didn't see Thoughtseize from our opponent Game 2, so I'm inclined to think that they don't have it. This is one of those weird times when Thoughtseize would be really good for our opponent. Our opponent keeps 6. Alright. We'll play Hive the Eye Tyrant and pass. Drawing into another Dusk Legion Zealot is pretty sweet. Okay. Alright. Now, this could mean that our opponent has a lot of top end, and our opponent having a lot of top end is a scary thought. Okay. Either our opponent is going to play something here, or their hand was just not that great. All right, Kalitas. We're going to shock this in here because we want to be able to cast our Fatal Push. Alright, if we drew no more lands the rest of the game, that'd be great. Just straight gas from here, please. Like Blood Baron would be insane off the top. Would really like to see our opponent, like, kill something here. I really think I want to save my Fatal Push for the Kalitas. Alright, I think attacking with the Gifted Aetherborn here is a solid attack. Alright. I'm going to wait and see what our opponent does here. Murderous Rider was a really good draw step. I'm going to declare no blocks and see what they do. Alright, we're going to cast Fatal Push. Target and out of the Ebon Legion. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to go for it. I was kind of hoping they would move there, but I'm still going to go for it and see what happens. Okay. Alright. Play Gifted Aetherborn, say go. Cast Murderous Rider. Play this tapped and say go. Now, the good news here is that we can try to stack up on the Gifted Aetherborn. Alright, now we can't. Having backup Kalitas was pretty solid. We're just going to take 2 here. Seeing another Murderous Rider would be pretty solid. Now, we have to lose quite a bit here. We do have to go to 8. But we're also getting to draw 5 cards. Alright. Gifted Aetherborn is good. There's only 1 card in our graveyard, which kind of sucks. Alright. That's... yeah, it's not looking good. Okay. I think we just gotta go to 7 here. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could play Liliana and the Edgar Markov. Discard the Godless Shrine. They discard Champion of Dusk. That's a scary thought, I won't lie. And we're just going to say go here. We can't really cast the Champion of Dusk that's in our hand. Alright. Yeah, our opponents had 3 removal spells. Wow, and they have their own Lord. Yeah, that's probably game. You might as well attack with the zombies at this point. Like, what's it really going to change? That's not enough, is it? Yeah, and that's exactly 4. They're going to get 5 zombie tokens out of this, and we're going to stay at 4 because of the lifelink. Oh, man. All right. I mean, we're at least going to see what an out looks like here. Like, try to find something. Oh. Pretty sure we're still just dead here because we gain 3, go to 5, and then take 1 billion. Yeah, okay. All right, well, that was a pretty, like, we never saw Baron. Baron would have just been like lights out off the top. I don't think our opponent could have beaten that. That was a pretty back and forth game there. Our opponent just saw more removal spells than we did. They also saw double Kalitas, and we did not see a Kalitas until like turn 12 of that game, so I'm pretty sure like that like cost us that game there, but no. All right, let's go. This is for the 3-2. It's a really close match though against the mirror, that last one. Alright, this hand seems pretty solid. Our opponent takes a mulligan. Now the Ebon Legion into Dust Legion Zealot's like probably one of my favorite curves in this deck. Our opponent's on a mulligan of 6. Ooh, Den of the Bugbear. Means they're playing mono red aggro. We're going to lead on Night of the Ebon Legion here. Kill that, sure. Cemetery Gatekeeper, name creature. See what you're working with. Yeah, we go to 16, say go. Wasn't really something I was honestly thinking about there, but the idea of... I'm just going to take 2. Casting Thoughtseize and then taking 2 off of the Cemetery Gatekeeper was really solid, actually. You're going to exile my Thoughtseize? Or... like, the Bone Crusher Giant? Okay. And we're just going to say go here. Okay. Our opponent casts Play with Fire. Like, you have to have another Play with Fire here. And we're going to say go. I think our opponent thought they were going to get me there with the Play with Fire. I don't... Maybe they didn't know what Knight of the Ebon Legion does? I don't know. That was pretty weird. Alright. Alright. We'll minus to make a lifelinker here. Not that the lifelinker has a ton of general value because of the Ferocidon, but I do like the idea of being able to double block the Ferocidon here. The other option was attack my opponent for 5, but the problem is we're just kind of losing that race. We really didn't want to see a Thoughtseize. That was pretty bad off the top. Really like this mono red aggro deck our opponent's playing. I've played a lot of it recently, and I really enjoy it. Alright. Hopefully they don't have like some kind of removal spell. They let us keep the lifelinker? Okay. I probably will not complain about that. Goblin Chainwhirler, that's fine. Man, really would have liked to seen a land for Champion of Dusk there. We have to go to 8 here. Yeah, it's not looking great here. Please find a land. Alright, well, we're going to serve it up. Go to 6 here. Shot block will stay at 6. Soulscar Mage. Alright, I can live with that one. Is this a vampire? Kind of like the idea of... We go to 9. I'm just going to hold up the Fatal Push here. In case our opponent draws a land, we're going to kill the Den of the Bugbear here. We're going to kill it in the beginning of combat. And then take 6, go to 3. They might kill our Sorin here. It's actually a pretty reasonable... I was like, yeah, it's pretty reasonable to kill our Sorin here. I'm not going to lie, I think we might have gotten there. I think the Edgar Charmed Groom here is just going to like win us this game. Like, they have nothing for us to Thoughtseize here. We have to go to 6, but then we get to go to 10. And then even if they kill our Edgar here, we're just going to throw it in front of the biggest thing they have. And even if they kill it here, we're going to attack for 3 in the air. So, yeah, that felt pretty good. Okay, cool. The fact that it has lifelink makes me like it. Legion's End. Kalitas is pretty good. I don't really think we want Sorin in this matchup. I don't really think we want Thoughtseize in this matchup. Or Go Blink. Yeah, I mean, I think... I don't know. I think Sorin's better than the Thoughtseizes here. I don't really like Thoughtseize in these red aggro based matchups. Feels like there's just too many ways for us to fall behind too quickly here. That, like, I don't know, like, then it kind of comes down to, like, we had a Thoughtseize in our hand that we never cast that game. We cast the first one because we didn't really have another play, but the second one was, we never cast it. Like, kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier, about how I don't really like having Thoughtseize in A, aggro decks because you draw it off the top late game, it's terrible, and B, it's 2 life that you kind of need in these matchups, so... Kind of like this hand. Not a huge fan of the Voldaren Estate in this deck, honestly. Like, I played a deck the other day that had it, and I'm just not a big fan of it, truthfully. We're going to play the black side and say go. It does have utility, though. It's a dual land, essentially, and... Alright, we have to take 2 to kill this, but... We go to 18. I don't think it's worth using the Voldaren Estate to cast the Knight of the Ebon Legion to hold up Fatal Push. There's nothing we're really doing next turn as of right now, so I think it's okay to just be able to play Fatal Push the following turn. The Soulscar Mage or another Eidolon. Another Eidolon, okay. We're going to play that one this turn because we need it untapped next turn for our Kalitas. Kind of hoping we could get our opponent to play a spell so that they'd have to take some damage off their own Eidolon there, but Chandra will be a tough one to beat here. Yep. Alright, well, they're going to minus on our Kalitas here, but hopefully that means we're in a decent spot to have our second one be pretty good. Drawing the second one was honestly just gas. They do have 4 Lava Coils in their deck. Like, well, most lists are playing Lava Coils in their sideboard or Mizium Mortars in some way, so it's not like they have to minus, but hopefully they do. They're going to Gatekeeper, probably exile Kalitas here. Yeah. Alright, they've only got 1 card in hand, so... Run out Kalitas number 2. We go to 12. I mean, Mizium Mortars, Lava Coil, like, if they don't kill our Kalitas and they attack, I'm not going to block. I don't want to lose my Kalitas to a Play with Fire or something silly like that, so Kalitas has much more value than going to 10 here. Plus, Gifted Aetherborn, like, really adds some value next turn. Also, if we hit a land next turn, we can, if Kalitas survives and we hit a land, we can play Aetherborn. We play our land, then we play Aetherborn, and then we can have 2 Lifelinkers, or we can sacrifice our, now that's pretty good. They had Torbran and Lava Coil, and they sat there for 5 minutes? Okay. So we're just dead here. I mean, mean, I guess we're not technically dead. We're going to 6, then we're going to 4, then we're going to 2 off the Chandra here. Kill this now. Alright. Yeah, our opponent drew very well that game. Them having the Lava Coil there was kind of lights out. So I still don't think we want the Thoughtseizes or anything like that. I think we just want to draw better here. Yeah, like Thoughtseizes and Go Blanks seem kind of gimmicky here, so I'm not really a fan of having them in. Well, we can't keep a one-lander, even as good as that hand is. This hand is also really good. Now we need a little bit of help here from our deck, but our hand is pretty sweet. Alright, they definitely have Play with Fire here. Drawing a land is pretty good. Let's attack for 1. Alright, maybe they don't have Play with Fire here. It's also very possible that they just don't have a 1-drop here. The mono red deck, like the only 1-drops I've played in my list are Play with Fire and Soulscar Mage, so alright, let our opponent take 3 here. And then we'll say go. We're going to hold up the Swift End, part of the Murderous Rider. I'm going to take 2 here and go to 20, because if they play a Ferocidon, we have no way to stop it to gain life, so we go to 14. Hopefully they don't have a Play with Fire here. It was like they haven't represented it yet, so I don't think they're going to have it. Yep, we gain a bunch. And then we play Knight of the Ebon Legion. They both get counters. And we have a blocker for the Eidolon. Feels like we're in a pretty good position here. Alright, and our opponent just concedes. Yeah, that was a really good draw from us there. Like, our draw step was pretty good to us there. That was pretty sweet. Alright, well, this was Orzhov Vampires. The deck is a lot of fun. I think the Edgar Charmed Groom is a really good card. I mean, honestly, like, I don't even know what you change. Like, I understand why they're playing Sorin the Mirthless. That's what it's called. And it even won us a game. The 2-3 with lifelink and flying was pretty solid there. Yeah, I don't like. I could see like some version of the deck where you cut Sorin the Mirthless and you play like an extra Kalitas and an extra Edgar in the main, but I don't know that that's necessary. And depending upon the right metagame, you could play 2 Go Blanks in the main. That's also options. So one of the cards that I think you might could consider as adding a copy to the sideboard is Blood Baron. That card is really good. Like that was just like one of the best cards this whole matchup. So, all right. Well, let's see.